Hello, everybody. Welcome to our virtual Warrior Day. This is the final one of the summer. We'd like to thank everybody for being here. We'd like to get started with a short video clip.
Where you're headed depends on where you start from. When you want to make a living and make a difference, it pays to start at Rochester University. We are a Christ-centered community of learners, achievers, and believers, working together to create better lives and a better world. We're building our skills, growing our faith, and making a difference in our communities and our professions. We believe, belong, and become, fulfilling our God-given potential and heading towards a brighter future.
All right, thank you so much for your attention to that. And again, thank you for joining us. My name is Emily, and I'm Rochester University's Senior Admissions Recruiter. I work primarily with students from Detroit and from the Downriver and Ann Arbor area, but I also work with students who are interested in coming to Rochester University to study theater. We have several other recruiters who work with students from other areas as well, but that's where I work. And I'm also a Rochester University graduate, so you can trust that the things that we're sharing with you today are things that I was fortunate enough to have experienced myself when I was a student. And I'm joined by my awesome teammate, Catherine, who I will hand it over to so that she can introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Fulmer and I am also an admissions recruiter here at Rochester. I work primarily with students who live within the state of Michigan outside of the Metro Detroit area. I also work with all of our prospective international students as well. So we thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here, to join us and to learn a little bit more about who we are at Rochester and what our institution has to offer. So let's take a look at our agenda for this afternoon. So you'll see the topics on the screen of what we're going to be talking about today. So we'll go into detail through each of these topics. If you have any questions, feel free at any time in the presentation to ask them by using the chat feature found at the bottom of your screen. You can type out a question and send it to our host, Mary Sauger, and we will address all of your questions at the end of our presentation. Just to make a note that your mics and your cameras are turned off. So feel free to sit back, relax, and let's get into some content here.
All right, moving on to the next slide. I want to talk a little bit about who Rochester University is. So we are a small liberal arts private Christian university, and we take a holistic approach to education. This means that we're not just interested in teaching you what you need to know to go into your career. We're also interested in helping you grow into a well-rounded person and a lifelong learner. Our student body is made up of just over 1,000 students, and our average class size is 12. So think a little bit about what that means practically. In a class that size, your professor's going to know your name. They're going to notice if you're struggling, and they care enough about you to connect with you and ensure that you have access to what you need to be successful. While our student body is small, it's increasingly diverse. We accept students from all backgrounds and faiths, and our current enrollment includes students from 20 states and 11 nations. However, most of our students come from Michigan and the greater Metro Detroit area. When it comes to our professors, we have 30 full-time faculty members, the majority of whom hold terminal degrees in their field. And not only are they highly accomplished, but they choose to teach here. They know that they can share their expertise directly and in a close-knit setting with our students, which is important to them. On top of that, Rochester University is located in the beautiful city of Rochester Hills. If you haven't heard, Rochester Hills has been named one of America's safest and best cities. It has a fun and active community. Our campus backs onto the Clinton River Trail, which makes it about a 20-minute walk into downtown Rochester, which has plenty of great places to study, work, eat, and hang out with friends. It's situated right in the heart of Metro Detroit, which is a short drive from major league sports, concert venues, shopping centers, and a ton more. So there's never a shortage of things to do. Moving on to the next slide, you'll see some of the adjectives that describe us listed, but to me, they all really boil down to one thing, which is community. Our community is committed to building the whole student. We believe that college education is more than just a degree. It's about helping you grow academically, socially, and spiritually. Every single community member on campus is committed to this mission because we know that when you find your vocation and pursue it boldly, the world becomes a better place. So to talk a little bit more about how our academic model prepares you to be a world changer, I'm going to hand it back over to Catherine.
Great. So at Rochester, our academic philosophy is described through the acronym EPIC. because we believe that your time and your experience at Rochester is an epic journey and an epic story. So let's break that down a little bit. The E is for exploring. So that is an opportunity to help broaden your understanding of the world. Normally this happens through general education courses. The next step is preparing. So this is preparing for bringing the skills that you need for a future career, for just building that knowledge. So that comes through mostly your major classes. Next is integration. So that is taking the knowledge and the skills that you've learned in the classroom and actually practically using them through personal and professional experiences. So this might look like an internship experience, maybe attending conferences, student teaching experiences or clinical experiences, anything where you're using that knowledge from the classroom out into the world. Lastly is C for calling. So we believe that you have a calling and that God has given you unique gifts and talents to use in the world. So we want to help you not only recognize your gifts and your talents, but also be able to use them. So this is a very broad understanding of our academic philosophy here at Rochester. So all of these pieces work with each other, and you're constantly exploring, preparing, integrating, and calling throughout your Rochester career. So that's the large scale of things. Let's take a look at the smaller scale of things and our academic programs. So we offer a wide variety of majors in each of these schools and departments listed on the screen. So one thing to also keep in mind is that undecided is one of our most popular programs as well. You don't have to come to Rochester knowing exactly what you want to major in. You also can change your major while you're here too. We want to make sure that our students are pursuing a career path and a program of study that they are passionate about. And we don't want you to choose a program just to choose a program and have a major. So know that being undecided is very much an option as well. If you have any questions about specific majors, feel free to put them in the chat box. We can address them at the end of our session. But for now, let's move on and look at our honors program. So our honors program is a different type of work. It's not anything that's extra work. We want to provide our honors students with the opportunity to engage in topics that they are passionate about, as well as have just an enhanced social experience and a general experience with students who are also interested in honors and interested in that field. So we have our requirements listed on the screen, knowing as things have changed for the fall 21, or just for our fall 21 incoming students, knowing that test scores are not an option. We're aware of that and are looking at our requirements for now. So if you're interested, feel free to get in touch with your admissions recruiter and we can pass along our honors application to you. So let's take a look at some academic resources that we offer on campus. All of our academic resources are free for all of our students. So we offer free tutoring, both in person as well as online. So if you know you're going to be someone who is up at 1 in the morning struggling with math homework, don't fear. We have tutoring in place for you to help get your math homework complete when you are up late or outside of business traditional office hours. We have a library as well as computer lab and other academic spaces where you can use computers. Printing and copying is free. We have textbook resources, so if your textbook doesn't get here quite in time for classes to begin, you can borrow one of ours to use for the time being. Our librarians all have master's degrees in their field, so they're experts and can really help you with finding resources that you need for papers and projects and whatnot. So we have a wealth of academic resources. They're free and available to our students, and we want to help make sure that your transition from either high school or community college is successful. So that is just a great overview of what we're able to offer academically. Let's take a look at what we can now offer on the student experience side.
Yes, GEO is a perfect segue from academics to student life because it's both a useful academic experience, but it's also a really fun activity to participate in. GEO stands for Global Educational Opportunities, and it's our study abroad program here at Rochester. It's one of my favorite things to talk about because I actually had the opportunity to study abroad when I was a student at RU, and it was a really exciting and formative part of my time here. GEO offers short and long-term study abroad opportunities in Vienna, in Costa Rica, in London, in the Western United States, and in Uganda. As one of the ways Rochester University buys into our mission to develop students holistically, we partner with a 501c3 nonprofit organization called Kibo Group for our GEO trip to Uganda. Kibo Group hosts our students and teaches them all about the development work being done on the ground in Uganda. And then to support their efforts, Rochester University opened Kibo Corner, which is a 100% volunteer-run coffee shop right in the center of Rochester University Student Center. All of the money generated there goes directly back to Uganda to help fund clean water source initiatives, community sustainability practices, women's empowerment initiatives, and tons more. It's a really great way that our students can get involved and support other cultures worldwide. On the next slide, we'll take a look at our student life opportunities. Now, our Center for Student Life serves to connect our students to campus opportunities outside of the classroom. They focus on 3 things, which are listed there, and I'm going to speak to each line item a little bit. First line item is spiritual formation. This includes volunteer opportunities, vocational guidance, and our chapel programming. I'd like to dive into our chapel programming a little bit, as it may be new to some of you listening. Chapel is held 3 times per week, and it is a great way for our entire community to be in the same place at one time. It looks like a lot of different things. So it can be music from our student-led worship band, speakers from outside organizations, students sharing about their experiences overseas, traditional worship, all kinds of things. But the best part about it is that it's a break from the rest of the day to connect with each other. The second area of focus for the Center of Student Life is student engagement. This is where your co-curricular opportunities and experiences come in. They could be everything from student media, Greek life, campus puppy program, performing arts and theater, and tons more. If you don't see a group on campus that piques your interest, students can submit presentations to create clubs of their own. Student Life will help you find an advisor for the group and other students who share the same interests so that you can create a group that will live long past your time at Rochester University. Finally, our Center for Student Life provides opportunities to engage in student leadership. This is perfect for those of you who are currently in student government or those of you who want to explore positions of leadership within our student body. Emerging leaders, fellowship leaders, community leaders, these are all unique areas of leadership that you can get involved with, and there are scholarships attached to these positions as well. The opportunities are endless, and Student Life gives you a platform to take the reins and serve our campus community directly. On the next slide, I want to show you a little bit about Warriors Serve, which is a day of partnership and service in our local community, which is held once each semester. It's attended by Rochester University students, staff, faculty, and community members. Past projects have included things like going door to door to test and replace smoke alarms in high-risk homes, landscaping and cleaning public spaces in our community, building and upgrading projects at a local at-risk youth facility, and maintenance projects at organizations which serve low-income community members. So there's tons of really great work that gets done through this initiative. Another great way to get involved on campus is by participating in one of our athletic programs, and I will hand it over to Catherine to tell you a little bit more about that.
Great. So we are part of the NAIA and the WAC conference, and we offer 18 sports teams for our students, and we really have a strong student athlete community here at Rochester. If you are interested in potentially joining a team, you can find our recruitment form on the website. You can see a screenshot there on the screen as well as the link to it. Feel free to fill that out. It's really the best way to get in touch with a coach and to see if you might be interested in joining one of our sports teams. Even if you are not interested in athletics, but maybe still are interested in cheering on the Warriors, all of our students can attend home games for free. So please come out and support our teams. Awesome. Okay, so as we've already looked at the student experience, let's talk a little bit about living on campus or commuting, starting with living on campus. So we have 2 residence halls on our campus. Both are suite style, which means that you have a room, usually with 2 people, another room, also with 2 people, and then those 2 rooms share a connecting bathroom. So we have the 2 residence halls. One is specifically for our first-year students, and the other is for our upper-class students. Each residence hall is set up the same way. They have laundry and a kitchenette on each floor. Laundry is free, so no need to start saving all of those quarters. And all of our residential students get a 19-week meal plan. So that covers meals all the way through the week as well as over the weekend too. So living on campus is a really great opportunity to get what you might call like a full college experience. You're close by to all of the academic and social experiences and resources available on our campus. Then scheduling gets to be a little bit easier when you're here on campus and you don't have to work around other schedules and commuting and maybe borrowing a car or something like that. However, if you are close enough to commute, let's talk a little bit about what that experience looks like. So commuting students are a valuable part of our community, and we have a large and strong commuter population as well. We don't charge for parking, so everyone gets a parking pass who has a car, but we don't charge a semester or annual fee for it. Commuters are also able to get a meal plan. So let's say you might be interested in getting lunch on campus. When you're here for classes, you can get a meal plan just for lunch and not for the full breakfast, lunch, dinner that our residential students receive. There are plenty of fantastic study spaces on our campus, both inside and out. So we never want any of our commuting and residential students to feel like they don't have a place to go. We never want you to feel like the only place you can go is to sit in your car. So we have study spaces, we have more social spaces, we have fantastic outdoor spaces. So we hope that you'll find some place to be comfortable here on our campus. And we also have student organizations that are dedicated to our commuting students to make sure that their voices and opinions are heard when it comes to planning campus events and whatnot too. So let's take a look now at our admissions requirements.
Yes, so at this point, we've wrapped up our student life and academic portion of the presentation. So if there are any questions you don't feel like we answered for you, feel free to put them in the Zoom group chat, and we'll address them during our live Q&A at the end of this session. So a little bit more about our admissions process. Our application is still open for seniors. So for those of you who are looking to attend classes this fall, it's not too late to get that process going. Simply complete our free online application for admission at the link listed on your screen, and you will be assigned an admissions recruiter who will help you through the whole process. For those of you who are going into your senior year, it's not too early for you to get this process started as well. Once you've completed the online application, we then request that you send us your high school transcript and your SAT score. We typically look for a transcript, or for a GPA rather, of at least a 2.25 and a 940 on the SAT or an 18 on the ACT for unconditional admission. If you don't meet these requirements, we still invite you to talk to us about becoming a part of our Rochester University community. We'll take a closer look at your scores and your GPA and then let you know what additional information or materials we'll need from you. Your best bet is to talk to your admissions recruiter about your next steps. They're there to make this process not so stressful or scary. Another note for those of you who've been impacted by COVID-19 and have been unable to take the SAT, we're internally working through what the process will look like for you to get admitted, and we'll stay in communication with you every step of the way as those decisions are made. But in the meantime, you can get things started by completing the application for admission online. For transfer students, we're going to go to the next slide. Here at Rochester University, you're considered a transfer student if you have 16 or more credits that transfer over towards your specific degree from another institution. We're extremely transfer friendly, and we can actually accept up to 90 credit hours. We have an online transfer guide so that you can go right on our website and see how your credits can transfer over. This can be found at rochesteru.edu/transfer. On this part of our website, you can enter the college that you attended, the course number of the class that you took, and then it will let you know what the equivalency is here at Rochester University. And this will help you as you're figuring out what classes you need to take before you transfer here. You'll be working with one of our transfer admissions recruiters, and they'll also be happy to help you help show you how your credits can transfer over as well. To be admitted as a transfer student, you will need to have at least a 2.25 GPA, but we will not need any high school information from you. If you're transferring fewer than 16 credits, we do still ask that you also send us your high school transcript and SAT or ACT score when we're evaluating you for admission. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Catherine, and she'll talk to you a little bit more about the financial aid opportunities that are available to you at Rochester.
Yes, everyone's favorite topic, money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so really the best way to get started with the financial aid process is to fill out the FAFSA. You can find the FAFSA at studentaid.gov. FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So it's currently open if you're interested in beginning classes this upcoming fall semester. If you're planning on attending classes next fall semester, so fall 2021, the FAFSA will open for you this upcoming October. Once you have access to the FAFSA, feel free to add us as a school. Our code is listed on the screen. Even if you've already submitted your FAFSA for this year, you can go back into it, re-add us as a school, and resubmit it so we can receive your results. Once our financial aid office receives your FAFSA, they will put together a financial aid award package for you, and then we'll email you that package. You can take a look, and view your awards. And if you are planning on starting classes for this fall semester, you can go in now and accept those awards if you haven't done so already. So that's a quick breakdown of this process, but really if you have any questions or are interested in additional resources such as other loan opportunities or scholarship opportunities, I definitely recommend just going back to studentaid.gov. It's a really good starting point for anything financial aid related. So now let's look into a breakdown of what will come through that email from financial aid. Usually your financial aid will fall into either of these three categories: grants, scholarships, and loans. So grants are money that does not have to be repaid. They're generally need-based. So an example might be a Pell Grant or Michigan tuition grant. Scholarships are money that is merit-based, so often earned off of something, such as academic scholarship, performing arts scholarship, athletic scholarship, also money that does not have to be repaid. One note about scholarships is that Rochester University participates on Raise Me. It's a website where students can input all of their achievements and awards and honors and earn small micro scholarships towards a greater scholarship fund for their college education. So feel free to create a Raise Me profile if you haven't already, and feel free to follow us too. In fact, you would earn scholarships just for attending this session today. So any of our students who are interested in starting with us for next fall or next spring, feel free to follow us on Raise Me. We also will accept outside scholarships. So if you have a scholarship from a place of business or from maybe a parent's workplace, we'll accept those as well. Finally, our loans. So loans are money that will need to be repaid back after graduation. We're going to put a quick pause on that because we have an exciting program to talk about here in a little bit. But let's continue to go through some scholarships. So this slide here shows traditionally what our academic scholarship matrix has been. Noting, of course, with the test scores and the uncertainty going on there, we are taking a look at this as well. However, we wanted to include it just to give you an idea of what kinds of academic scholarships we offer. So let's move on to the next slide to talk a little bit more about other scholarship opportunities. For our transfer students, this is not expected to change. You can find your transfer GPA and the scholarship amount that goes with it. Note that on the right-hand side, you'll see a transfer scholarship, which is awarded to every single student that transfers to Rochester. It's automatically a $2,000 scholarship. For all of our scholarships, there's no extra work that needs to be done, no extra application or anything like that. We automatically award scholarships. So you'll see a few other options for scholarships on the right-hand side. We have general scholarship funds available too. So now that we've given you an overview of scholarships, let's take a further look into loans.
Yes, I'd like to talk to you about a really exciting program that we just started. We're launching for this upcoming year for our incoming students in fall of 2020, but that we anticipate is going to be available as well to all of our incoming students in the fall of 21, and hopefully we'll be continuing beyond that as well. It is called the Rochester University Pledge, the RU Pledge, and this pledge is our loan repayment assistance program, and it's available at no cost for students and their families. We believe in the value of a Rochester University education, and we know that the reality is that most students pursuing a private education do end up needing to rely on loans to some degree. I did, and most of the students I work with do as well. The idea is that by getting a degree, you're preparing yourself for a career that will pay you enough to pay those loans back. But we also know that some careers pay more than others. Things like education, ministry, social work, and performing arts. Those types of careers are often more about passion than earning tons of money, but we need passionate people to do those things. So if we're going to encourage our students to pursue their vocation and pursue their dreams, we have to be prepared to support them in unique ways if their debt is more than they can reasonably pay after graduation. For that reason, we became only the second school in the state of Michigan to offer assistance through the RU Pledge. The pledge is simple. Once you graduate from Rochester University and get a job where you work 30 or more hours per week, if you're not earning at least $45,000 annually, we've provided a way for you to get assistance with repayment of your student and Parent Plus loans until you do. The reimbursement amount that you receive will vary depending on how much you are making, but this relieves the stress of having to pay back your full loan payments right away. More information can be found at the link at the bottom of this slide. And as we move on to the next slide, you'll see some student testimonials about the RU Pledge. Both of the students who are listed here are attending campus this upcoming fall. As you can see by reading their statements, the RU Pledge is already providing relief, and it's giving students an opportunity to dream big. This is one of the best parts of our job, which is knowing that this will make a lasting impact on our students for years to come. Now I'd like to talk a little bit more about the cost of attendance. We're going to move on to the next slide. As a part of our Christian mission, we want to make sure that Rochester University is affordable to all. That's why we provide access to academic, athletic, and institutional scholarships, as well as investing in the RU Pledge. Private schools do not receive government funding, and thus our sticker price is a little bit higher, which you can see there. However, not only are we among the most affordable option in comparison to other schools like us, but since we're a private school, we have resources available to us to offset the cost of attendance for our students. All of our students receive some form of financial aid, and on average, our students receive about a 40% tuition discount from Rochester University scholarships alone, and that's not counting state and federal aid. If you have specific questions or concerns about how you will be able to afford your education at Rochester, your best bet is to talk to your admissions recruiter and share more of your story so that we can assist you with the financial aid process. Don't let the initial price scare you. There are opportunities to decrease the overall cost, and we are more than willing to help. Now we'd like to share some next steps with you on the next slide.
Great. So this is just a general overview of what our admission process looks like. Honestly, the best place to start is to fill out an application. Our application is free and it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to complete. So that's my best recommendation on the best way to get started with everything. So this process also looks a little bit different for each student, and what we really recommend is to keep in touch with your admissions recruiter. We are here to help you through every single step of the process and everything along the way. So if we move on to the next slide, you'll have a chance to see all of us in our office here. So feel free to reach out to any of us, even if you aren't sure who your admissions recruiter is. You can email any of us and we will point you into the right direction. We're happy to help, and we're happy that you are interested in Rochester, and we want to help make that process of getting here as smoothly and seamless as possible. So this wraps up most of our content, and so we can start to move on to some questions that you might have. So feel free, if you haven't already and you do have a question, to pull up your chat box to send questions to our host, Mary Sauger, and we can start to get to them right now.
Few students submitted questions when they RSVP'd for this event, so we're going to answer those questions now, and then as other questions come in, we'll address those as well.
Yeah. So I'll cover a couple questions here that all kind of fit together for our international students. So one question is whether or not international students can receive scholarships, and that is yes, our international students are eligible to receive academic, performing arts, athletic, general scholarships. So pretty much any opportunity that our domestic or U.S. students are able to earn scholarships, our international students also can receive the same. On the same line for financial aid, yes, international students cannot fill out the FAFSA, and we have additional measures in place to make sure that you have a financial aid package and that we can work out a package that will work well for you and for your family and what is affordable. So we just have some different paperwork that goes with that. So we know that you can't necessarily do the FAFSA, or you can't do the FAFSA as an international student. So yes, a couple of questions for that there.
All right, so the next question I see is there a student email account that I need to create? The answer to that is yes. All of our students who fill out an application are given instructions on an email response that our admissions staff sends out for creating their student portal. The student portal is a really, really useful tool. It houses a lot of information, including getting connected with advising, getting connected with financial services, the Center for Student Life, and a ton of other really useful information. But that is also where your student email account is housed. So instructions on how to get that set up should be emailed to you as soon as you actually fill out your application before you're even admitted to Rochester. But for any student who has any questions about how to access that email account and how to access their portal, the Center for Student Life can help, as well as your admissions recruiter. They're always there to help guide you and step you through any processes that you're confused about at all.
Great. Another question we have is, if I cannot take my SAT due to COVID, can I still be eligible for a merit scholarship? Yes. So we are currently working on a new scholarship matrix that is for that situation for students who are unable to take a test and would earn scholarship because of GPA. So we hope to publish that very soon here.
Another question that I see is there a counseling center on campus? Yes, we do have a clinic on campus for any student in need of access to counseling. It's called the McKinnon Psychology and Counseling Clinic, and its function is to help meet the psychological and developmental needs of young students who face major life transitions and adjustments while they're in college. There are access to professional staff of psychologists and psychotherapists who are licensed by the state of Michigan in their respective professions, and they're available to all of our students.
Great. Another question I have is, what do I think makes RU stand out from other schools? And that's a really awesome question. One thing I personally think makes us stick out is our community. At Rochester, you really are part of a family here. You are more than just a student with a name and major. You are a person that we care about and want to get to know. Kind of going back to EPIC, EPIC is really about your story. We want to help you author your story and be able to tell your story. And so we take that into everything that we do. We believe that you are someone with a story to tell and you have great experiences. We want to help you continue to author those experiences. So at Rochester, you are a person that is cared about here. You're part of our community. And I think that's something that you're not going to find everywhere. You're not going to find at every single school, that professors know your name and know who you are and know what you're into. So that's something that I feel personally makes us stick out.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback on that, I saw another question that said, while you were at RU, what made your stay there epic? And as a former Rochester University student myself, I can speak to that directly. I can list a number of experiences that I had that were, in a word, epic. My time overseas in Uganda as a part of the GEO Study Abroad program, my participation in performing arts groups that allowed me to cultivate really fantastic relationships that have lived on long since my time finished as a student at Rochester, as well as like the networking opportunities that I got. When you know all of your professors, when you are close with all of your peers, those are relationships that don't just fade when you graduate. They're people that you can rely on for references for your professional career, and people that you can lean on in difficult times. I specifically remember a time when I had mono as a sophomore, and by all accounts, I absolutely should have flunked out of school. But if it were not for the direct personal attention and care from my professors, one of whom actually drove out to my parents' house to bring me assignments, my time as a student might have ended because I wasn't able to do it on my own. But Rochester is a place where you can expect that the people around you are going to lift you up and support you no matter what experiences you're going through as a student. So it's so much about the people, and the academic experience is really fantastic as well. Definitely prepare students for the next step, whether that be their career or grad school, or wherever your life takes you. The academic experience is going to prepare you for that as well.
Awesome. So another question we have is if we allow pets on campus. We do allow pets on campus to an extent. So if you're living in the residence halls, you can have fish on campus. And if you are a part of our campus puppy program, you can, which is our partnership with Leader Dogs for the Blind. Their headquarters is actually just right up the street from us. So you can be a puppy raiser. And if you are a puppy raiser, then you can have have the leader dog with you on campus as you're raising that puppy for the year. So it's a really unique and awesome program that we have. Whoever raises a puppy on our campus is really popular. So if you want to see a lot of people and have the dog get a lot of pets, that is one great way to do that. So that's a great experience that you can have on our campus, and also as a way to have a pet on campus too.
Another question that I see here is there a way I can accumulate several scholarships that will end up covering my full tuition? The answer to that is a resounding yes. We have students every year who have financial aid packages that cover the entirety of their tuition, and they potentially even have access to additional funds above and beyond the cost of tuition that they can then use for living expenses or any other school-related expenses that they might have while they're a student. I actually, anecdotally, I have a story about classmate of mine when I was a student who, instead of having a part-time job, he spent several hours a week researching different external scholarships that he could apply for, and eventually he was able to, was approved for enough of them that he was able to fund the balance of his tuition as well as additional living expenses. So you can accumulate several scholarships internally through our merit scholarships, performance-based athletic scholarships, need-based scholarships, along with your grants and federal loans as well. All of those things are stackable, but we also definitely encourage all of our students to pursue outside scholarships so that they can supplement their scholarship package as well. Yes, the answer is yes, you can definitely stack scholarships on top of each other.
Another question we have is that if there is one thing that you can change about RU, what would it be? One thing that I would change is just that we are a hidden gem, and a lot of people don't necessarily know about us. They'll often drive by our campus and recognize that it's there, but not really realize who we are or what we do. And so I would want to just have a better way of sharing who we are, sharing our community, and all the opportunities and experiences that we could have at Rochester. It's so funny how many people will get within a time being like, I drive by here all the time, but I just didn't realize that you had this beautiful campus. Like, yeah, it's great, isn't it? So I would love to be able to share our campus and our community and our experience with more people.
I see another question that was submitted ahead of time that says, what are you looking for in an art portfolio? I'm sorry, art portfolio, I can speak. I know that I've actually addressed this question directly with this student, but we have a particular professor on campus who is in charge of the art concentration, and he has made himself available to any student who would like to chat with him about that. So if any other students are interested, his name is Zach Watson, and he can be reached at zwatson@rc.edu.
Awesome. So we thank you so much for taking some time out of your afternoon to be here. We know there are a couple other questions that came through that we're running out of time to answer. However, feel free to reach out to any of us. We're happy to address some of those questions that were answered, and happy to walk through the admissions process with you as well. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you being here, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.